Do you enjoy have access to each other's phones? But it is a big thing. I had a client last week that was like, my husband wants my password, and I don't know if I've been married for like 10 years. Side note.
Yeah, I think it's it's like sex in a relationship. Like, it's usually an indicator of something bigger. Like, oh, like, we want to work on our sex life. Great. That's a bigger thing.
Yes.
That's a bigger thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like that, like passwords and phones, I don't know. Yeah, Joy's got all my passwords and logins and stuff, and there's nothing to hide. So do we go into each other's phones? No. Like, are we sneaking each other's phones like in the middle of the night to like check like who's she texting? It's like, that's a bigger problem. Like, that's not, the password to the phone's not going to solve that problem. No. That's a bigger issue. And if someone doesn't want to give you the password to their phone, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of the principle of the thing. It's like, huh? Like, what? Okay, wait a minute, but why not? Then there's something you're not telling me. Either you feel like I'm too nosy and too intrusive and you don't like trust me that way, or like this person has suspicions of infidelity and they're not communicating them to me, which I could understand. There's been many situations where like infidelity has been caught because someone was aware of like, this person's acting weird, man. And so, yeah, I think it's a bigger thing.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Leave it in the comments. What do you, does your partner get your password to your phone? But it's one that certainly comes up.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of on a different topic today, though.
Yeah.
You saw an Instagram video.
Yeah, I saw an Instagram video, and it was very curious to me because it was a therapist, and he wanted to talk to other therapists. And the question is basically like, how are other therapists doing? And the assumption behind it, and definitely the suggestion behind the post, was that it's difficult, and this therapist was really struggling with being in a situation where he's listening to how everybody's falling apart because of politics and stress and the way that our world is right now in general, and how it was affecting him listening to everybody talk about all of these problems. And besides my annoyance with this therapist, making hypnotic suggestions to other therapists about how they should be frustrated right now.
That's a great point of like, even just bringing that up, and then a therapist who isn't frustrated about it could be like, oh man, do I not care enough?
Yeah.
It's quite a suggestion.
And I had a client that was like, last week, they were talking like, well, what happens if this, and what happens if our government turns into a government like the Nazi government, and this is all the stuff that's happening, and they're like, what are you gonna do, Zach? Like are you gonna leave the country? And I was like, I'll probably set up something, like if Nazis take it, and I said it just like that, I'll probably set up something to where my 7-year-old and wife have like a place to go overseas. And we're privileged enough to make it so that I know enough people overseas that somebody would house us in the UK and France and a couple of places in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That I think will be unaffected by, if Hitler takes over in the US. But it's like, but no, I don't want to stay. Like I want to continue doing this. I ended up, if anybody has ever heard about this person, I think that is a great subject study on it. But Dietrich Bonhoeffer in Nazi Germany.
Oh yeah, Not super familiar, but definitely, the name.
Yeah, he was a pastor. I don't know what form of Christianity it was, but he was a pastor. He was part of like the Underground Railroad, all of that stuff. He ended up dying. But I don't know. My reaction to like that thought process is, it would be pretty cool to be in that situation. Like that seems exhilarating. I'm not sitting here worried like my world will implode, but like that, there's nothing that I can do about if Hitler takes power. There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah. Not individually.
But that's not stressful for me. It's like if I like that'd be so cool. Like I could be a part of the Underground Railroad.
It'd be kind of badass.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we are romanticizing. It would be terrible. Like, don't get me wrong. It would be terrible. It's not the future I want. But at the same time,
good point.
like, let's. I'm not looking forward to that. Let's establish what I would assume is a baseline, but for the sake of social media, because it's disjointed, let's make sure that baseline's clear.
Yes.
But yeah, at the same time, it makes me think about this study they did with rats, and they set up this like environment for the rats where it could like easily house like 10,000 rats or 2,000. I forget what the number was, right? But a lot of rats. It started with two, right? And so there's two rats, and they got all the food, all the shelter they could possibly need. And so what they watched is the population of the rats exploded. But then before it even reached like really is like maybe 2/3, like maybe just broke halfway. And then the population plateaued and then started to decline. And it declined so bad that all of the rats died out. And it was not because of any lack of physical resources or like basic needs of living.
Oh, interesting. They just couldn't expand.
It was social.
Yeah.
And so what they found is that there were some rats who would, usually the weaker rats, who would segregate all the female rats. And they would kind of keep them, and they become really aggressive. These like lesser, more meek, more weak type of rats, they would hoard the females. And then there were these other rats who were more strong and like aesthetically attractive, and they would spend all day preening themselves, like washing their face. You know, little rats do. You know, the whole thing. They called them like the influencer rats because they're really pretty, but they served no like social function. They would just sit and preen themselves every day, and you could tell they were depressed. And then you have these weaker rats who would like hoard the resources. And so it became a social thing. So the result of the experiment was that, you know, kind of this hypothesis or conclusion that when there is a lack of categorization of each rat's like social value, social collapse happens. And so I think, you know, I wonder if in some ways like we're seeing that.
Yeah.
There's like a social collapse because a lot of things are taken care of, that people struggle to really know what their role is.
Yeah.
And so whenever I hear that, I don't know what to do. To me, it's an indication of a greater struggle to know what my social role, what my work is, right? And so people tell me that in my sessions. They're like, Jesse, aren't you concerned about this? I'm like, yes, obviously, very concerned, very nervous. Also recognize my place of privilege in this situation. I have resources at my disposal that other people do not. But at the same time, I think one of the greatest resources that I have that other people might not is a very clear idea in my head of what my job is and fulfillment in that job. I can't change politics.
Yeah.
But I do get this opportunity to significantly change the landscape and trajectory of mental health.
Yep.
Especially in Central Florida. And the best thing I can do for the country as a whole is to do a really great job with the opportunities I've been given here.
Right.
Right. And so if everyone did a really great job with the opportunities that they have been given, that gives us the greatest opportunity to fight the bad stuff.
Well, and that kind of goes to the idea of what I think what this therapist was really worried about. Like, if there's all of this stuff, you know, maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but what is my job going to look like? And so fitting right back into that principle of what's the future going to look like? What am I gonna do? What is my role going to be? What is you know, I mean, just even that question, what is probably the bigger fear. And then in that fear of not knowing what my role could be, and it starts off with that. Even it's like we don't even know if that's going to happen, but we're sitting here making suggestions based on it's happening. And that's not to take away from like the bad stuff that is happening, but it's to point out like we're not there yet, and you're worried about what your role is going to be in a situation where you could still have that role.
Yeah. Yes.
And I mean, that's the foundation of burnout right there.
Well, but I think that's the piece that people struggle with. Like, I think you and I have a pretty solid understanding of what our roles are, but I don't think many people do. Like, if I lose this profession, I lose my role. That's not how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And I've said that on social media. Like, I'm a philosopher and an engineer, right? Philosophy is the science of meaning and purpose, and engineer is applied science, right? So I am studying the theoretical science of meaning and purpose, and then applying that science to my clients. I don't know what the term counselor is anymore. I've kind of given up on it. I think it's so mush.
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't mean anything.
My job is to study meaning and then engineering wise apply that to myself and other people's lives. So if I lose this job, nobody can take that title away from me.
Right.
Like philosophical engineer. Right? So if I lose the job, if I lose a role, if my name changes, if I lose an arm, fine. I'll never lose that part of my identity. And so maybe that's like the bigger thing when it comes to trauma-focused hypnotherapy. We understand that trauma is the loss of an identity non-consensually.
Yep.
And so if some person's identity is I am a counselor, and there's a threat of that being taken away, well, yeah, there's like this threat of who I am is going to be taken away. But that's not true. Nobody can take away who you are. But you can place your identity in something that is not independently stable. It needs to belong to you.
So I love that because I love how like articulate you are about all of these things. Because the
Sweetheart.
Yeah. Well, because my conceptualization of it is just like, well, how my self-talk works is I don't know if I'd use that title because this is the way my brain works. Is well, just do something different.
Yeah.
I'm just like fumbling through life, trying to like do the next most fun thing that is there, and that's kind of my reaction to that client was just like, well, then just do something else cool. Like I like helping people, especially the marginalized, and so like well, then if counselor gets if there's no more Department of Health, there's no more therapists.
So
I mean, I'll do something else cool because
I'm still gonna help people. In the giftings that I have. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, and I think that attributes to my rise in social media, which is like, oh, okay, COVID's here. This is really bad. And everyone's like freaking out and burning out, and I'm like, no difference. Like new opportunities to meet people in ways that were previously not afforded to me. Everybody is stuck at home on their phone. Wow,
let's connect.
What a great opportunity. I don't have to find where you are. I know right where you are. You're at home on your couch, sad on your phone. I'm going to be there because that's my job. That's what I want to do with the rest of my life. And any opportunity I have to be there to help somebody with their emotional well-being, that's the place you'll find me. So if the government changes, if the Department of Health changes, you can always find me in the same place. And the context surrounding it may vary.
I'm so aware this is why I think that trauma focused hypnotherapy or hypnosis and understanding how hypnosis works is so important, because the key fundamental difference there is just the suggestions that we're giving to ourselves.
Yeah.
Is in that situation, like I just want to do the next coolest thing. I mean, I don't even really know what that means what's next?
Yeah.
Instead of, oh no, I'm going to lose everything that has meaning to me.
It's very, very Buddhist of you. It's like it was all lost to begin with. It didn't mean anything to start.
I don't think so.
No, not like that?
Not like that.
Oh, okay.
No. You're right. It actually didn't mean anything. I'm agreeing. It didn't mean anything in the first place. It's like, yeah, like I don't. Why would I want to just do the same thing and be the same thing? It's like there's this thing in our society that we like to finish like a topic and like put it in this nice box and put it on the shelf. And then we like...
I think that's neurotypicals.
Yeah?
I don't know. There's none present in this room, so I can't ask anyone.
Right. No, leave it in the comments.
Leave it in the comments. Continue. I was silly jokes.
Yeah, but like it's like I want to learn. I want to learn how to be a counselor, and then counselor needs to go in a box with a nice bow and maybe some engravings on it, and then put that on the identity shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to say the same thing, and it needs to be the same thing. Where I think that my understanding of hypnosis is that learning how to be a therapist is just one little part of the cool stuff that I get to do.
Yeah.
And there's so many cool things.
So many cool things.
And hypnotizing ourselves to say that, like, I need to have that box in that way for the rest of eternity, I think is going back to burnout and this therapist. It's like, I don't know. It's kind of sad.
I agree, because I see a lot of people struggling with that. I'm like, there's so much hope. We're so far from done. I don't like it either, but we're so far from done. I don't have that feeling. I get the point of this podcast is like, recognize your subconscious trances. And that's important for me as a counselor and for you as students of the trauma focused hypnotherapy course, because it saves you from burnout.
Yeah.
Like, knowing and understanding trauma saves you from the trauma of what we're going through, and like makes you burnout resilient. I think there's two other pieces. You know how systematic my brain is. There's two other pieces that I think are critical to this question. We'll start with this one to see if I can remember the other one by the time we get to it. The first one is there are so many private practices that come to me not knowing what the next step is.
Yeah.
And it's so dumb. And it's so dumb, not as an indication of a lack of intelligence, but the question is so dumb because it's so simple if you understand the premise. And so they'll ask me, like, what should I do next? And I'll be like, well, you just told me. You already know what to do next. You need to go have an interview and hire an intern so you can start your group practice. It goes from 1 you to 2, right?
Yeah.
You know what that is. Well, I don't know how to do it. Well, yeah, me either, right? I know how to do it for me. I don't know how to do it for you. But there's no way to know until you start. And so the way that I kind of analogize this is, if I'm on the path of life and I can see a brick wall in front of me, I could spend all this time a mile away trying to engineer a way to get over that brick wall, but I'm not there yet. I tell people, like, don't worry, let me get close to the brick wall. When I'm 5 feet away, I'll be able to like see how tall it is. How big a ladder do I need? Is there good sure footing at the bottom to like really set that ladder in? Do I need something else? Maybe it's a bad like foundation, so I need to build full stairs, right, instead of a ladder. But I cannot know that until I am upon the wall. And so it's the same thing. Like, I think there's a lot of stress right now, which burns calories and mental cycles.
Yeah.
Trying to solve issues that will change in 3 months. I mean, gosh, the current political climate has been this way for 7. So like 3.5 months is half of what it's been already. And look how much has changed, right? So you're trying to solve this. And by January, this is being recorded the end of September. It's going to be fundamentally different.
It's going to be.
So all of those plans are awash, and you spent so many hours. Do something more effective now. You'll figure it out.
The image that it brings into my head is like going fishing, but saying that there's a particular fish that you want to catch. And I think that especially with private practice, like startup, expansion, scaling, there's such a hypnotic trance there that there is like a very specific way to do something. That it's like, well, I need to catch that fish. And it's like, do you enjoy fishing? Or do you enjoy catching that fish? And that's such an impossible task to be like, I want to catch a particular fish in this lake.
Yeah.
Like that seems daunting.
That's really tough to do.
But that's like the question of like, what should I do next? Is like, how do I catch that fish? It's like, no, maybe you need to enjoy fishing.
Right. Well, and good fishermen can catch specific fish because they know what bait, what lure, where to go. But
even then,
but I think that only comes from experience, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but even then, it's like, well, do you enjoy bass fishing? No. I want to catch the fish named Bob.
Oh, you mean it like that?
Yeah, like saying like there's a very particular fish that is named Bob in this lake, and that's the fish that I want to catch.
There's a story about that.
No.
It has a really dumb name for the fish that'll make you giggle. It's called Moby Dick. It's about this one fisherman who loses his goddamn mind trying to catch one particular fish. Perfect analogy.
There's
There it is.
the benefit. For anybody to know, I have Captain Ahab is that person, and
Yeah.
that we're talking about. That's burning out, and
He's losing it, man.
giant tattoo over my shoulder about his neuroticism.
Do you really?
I've never seen it.
I probably have, but you've got a whole bunch of.
This one.
Oh, it's sick. Yeah, we'll have to get a picture or something. Put it in there.
Yeah. It's a quote by him that's like kind of laid down on my shoulder.
Yeah.
And the whole point of it is, he says, "But as for me, I am tormented by an everlasting itch for things remote. I love to sail barbarous. Seas." Oh, now I'm messing up the quote. I can't mess up my tattoo quote.
It's okay. You're on the spot.
And yeah, I'm not gonna be able to think about it now.
It's great.
But yeah,
it's a good metaphor.
Itch.
There's a whole beautiful story about it.
He was trying to convince everybody to not come with him because he was saying, "Hey, you could die from coming with me on this journey, so don't,
right?
Unless you want to go do this thing." But like the white whale is that practice that is like you do A, B, C, D, and E in this order, and this is what it's like, and that is the perfect way to burn out.
Yes. Hypnosis.
That trances. I don't know. I wanna share with people that everything can fall apart, and it is bad. But like putting your identity into needing things to stay the same way is just setting you up for. And I know that the pushback to that is like, well, people are gonna die.
Oh, that's my second point. I remember now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, finish your thought. But
No,
yeah, that's the second point.
Like that is bad. But there's like really cool things that we can do to help support people in that space too, and especially as therapists and hypnotherapists.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know. I don't want to dismiss that pain, but to say that it can't happen, I think is it makes things so much worse.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what if like Harriet Tubman was just like got stuck on slavery shouldn't be a thing. She never did all the awesome stuff that she would have been able to do if she got stuck on that. We wouldn't be talking about her right now if she hypnotized herself to be like, just thinking about how bad this is. It is bad. But the trance, it makes it worse.
It really does. That trance of helplessness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly don't feel that way. So to recap, point one is know and have a stable foundation of your identity that nobody can take away from you. That's one. You know, what's the value I bring here and how can I do the best with what I've been given? Because I can't fix it all. Point number two is you can't know how to overcome an obstacle until you are pretty close to it and can really assess and surmount the obstacle. So don't spend a lot of time planning for obstacles that are not in your purview yet. The third one is there's a big difference between trying to solve all the problems and being stupid. What my interns will often misunderstand me, not often misunderstand because I've put it in my speech, but what people can misunderstand my communication as is don't plan. I'm not saying don't plan.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between like being safe and like planning to keep safe and then over planning. And I think a lot of people struggle with recognizing the fine line between over planning and, you know, keeping people safe, right? Like, I have built an infrastructure that is very planned and keeps my therapists safe and their paychecks safe so they can pay for their family, right? Mm-hmm. It would be very poor of me to proceed without a plan. So I'm not saying don't plan, right? That would be a misunderstanding of what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to find the balance between planning to stay safe and planning by wasting brain cycles, right? I get in my car, I put my seatbelt on.
But you see, no matter how hard you plan, you can never plan for your microphone failing mid-podcast session, and so the next 2 minutes were not recorded. but I think you get the point.
Okay, mi gente. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Hypersensitive, overaware, and probably like actually the opposite hypnotic suggestion placed dangers in my path that aren't actually dangers, but because I'm so like hyped up about them, now I'm driving erratically because I'm seeing everything as a danger. And so I'm actually making it worse. That's my final point. So know your identity, be stable in it. Wait until you're upon the obstacles to overcome them, and then know the balance between safety and healthy planning and overthinking. And when I see a therapist who's in this current climate, who's saying those things about like, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to help my clients, when I also am feeling scared. I'm feeling scared too, but not to the point where I'm losing my ability to help those who are in front of me. I have to feel confident in writing that line too. Otherwise, how can I help others? I think it's an indicator of I got some growth to do.
And it 100% it's growth that I have to do. And it is a fine line, but like we need to find that line. And if we miss that line on either side, it's still okay.
Yeah.
It's like if the line's here, like it's okay if you miss that. Just don't be over here.
Right. Tightrope walker. If you fall a little bit this way, just lean the pole this way and countercorrect.
Yeah.
And there's beauty in that. Like, if you watch somebody who's doing that, they're constantly correcting. They go too far right, they go too far left. And it's almost that back and forth that keeps them able to stay steady. If you tried to stay perfectly stick still, then you wouldn't be able to account for the change in air pressure, the wind, the beating of your heart that's going to change the distribution of weight due to the blood flow in your body. Like little things can trip you up. It's that back and forth little pendulum piece that keeps us steady. And if you can't flex like that, then I don't know if you're going to be able to stay up there.
No, you won't be able to.
That's my thought. Anything to add?
That's great.
Well,
don't burn out by giving yourself hypnotic suggestions that you should be burning out.
I want so much more for you than that. I want so much more for you than that. Let me know your thoughts. It's an introduction to a very pressing topic currently, and so those are our initial thoughts about it. But again, I'd love to maybe respond to some fan questions about this one, and see what specifically maybe you're struggling with, or perhaps there's other ways that I could clarify sort of these things, because it is a nuanced point. You definitely can't, well, Jesse says have no plan, or Jesse says plan for everything. No. It's in the middle. And so, yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well, until the next one. Thanks, guys.